your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Now, as usual, give you the top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it first, followed by a movie clip, a skit, a trailer, or something that's going on in the community, or maybe some pictures, maybe even some music, and then I'll give you the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made it, folks. So let's waste no time. Oh yeah, let's get to it. Story number 1. The last World War II veteran in Hubbard has been honored. Ed Runyon has an article published August 6th reporting on how Hubbard is honoring the community's last World War II veteran, Art Corian, who is 97. He's 97 years old. Corian is the only living member of the Hubbard American Legion Post 51 World War II veteran left, according to the report. That's why story number 1 made it this week. Big headline. Story number 2. Jewish Community Center. The Jewish Community Center receives 2 grants. The Jewish Community Center made headlines after receiving 2 grants for enrichment activities. The center received $6,529 in grant funds from the M. Fisher Memorial Fund, according to a Vindicator News release published August 6th. The funds will be used to create programs for its students. That's why story number 2 made it this week. Story number 3. Safety again is a top local concern. Safety concerns remain in top headlines after a Poland woman was killed in a pedestrian motor vehicle crash. The report published August 6th in the Vindicator echoes more safety concerns. The incident, according to the report, occurred on U.S. Route 224. The 87-year-old who died from her injuries was a resident of Poland. The crash remains under investigation. That's why story number 3 made it in this week, because safety, big. Safety is big. Story number 4. How did a highway patrol cruiser get damaged? On August 6th, a report surfaced about a Ohio highway patrol vehicle that was damaged after a driver was accused of stealing a car from the Hopkins International Airport in Cleveland, which later led to a police chase that led to a highway patrol cruiser being damaged. Last checked, this incident was still under investigation. That's why story number 4 made it this week. Story number 5. Money for the arts. Andy Gray has a report explaining how the Ohio Arts Council has awarded more than $250,000 in grants to the Mahoning County Arts and Education Organization. This is money out of a $22.7 million fund approved by Governor Mike DeWine. The Butler Institute of American Art in Youngstown will receive a portion of the funds. The report goes on to mention other entities in line to receive some of that money. Big headline. That's why story number 5 made it this week. Story number 6. A rate increase in Youngstown is a topic of discussion. David Scolding has a piece out of the Vindicator published August 3rd explaining how the Brown administration of Youngstown plans to request approval of a 5% annual wastewater rate increase for 4 years on August 28th, I believe. Now, the piece goes on to explain how the administration claims that they have they're saying that they have few options in this report. That's why they're saying they're going to go for this rate increase. Now, if the rate increase is approved, the increase would take effect beginning January 1st of 2025. Now, the article stresses the fact that customers have seen rate increases since 2021. The piece goes on to explain how the new rate increases would be used to cover $34.9 million in design work for a wet weather facility to reduce combined sewer overflows, with $2.3 million more used to combat wastewater seeping into Mill Creek Park. Folks, this story is still developing. This was story number 6. Almost made to the top 2 this week. Big headline. Story number 7 and the top 2 local headlines and developing news stories that made this week. Just a reminder, if you can't catch the show, if you're not an early bird and you don't want to get the first worm, you can catch the show on the website. It's posted on Mondays. So if you can't get up, you go to order to get up, you fall over in your bed, you roll over, and you get out the bed, and you realize you want to get some more sleep. You do want to check out the show that comes on the website during the week. So it's okay if you miss it. I oversleep sometimes too. Story number 7. New Veterans Center in the headlines. Ed Runyon has an article published August 3rd explaining how plans to move forward with the renovation of a former grocery store at 1915 Belmont Avenue with a $7 million construction price tag will take place. So they're going to put a little something there. Now the article goes on to talk about the vision for the new Mahoning County Veterans Affairs office that they want to use in this building. They're going to renovate the old grocery store, put a new veterans facility in there, and all the veterans can be all right. Might even put some housing units. How about that? And on top of that, partridge in a pear tree. The story is still developing. That's why story number 7 also made to the top this week. Big headline. Story number 8 in the top local headline and developing news story that made it this week. I want to show my love to the emergency crews. I heard that Liberty has been looking for firefighters. They're talking about even downsizing by closing one of their stations door because they don't have enough firefighters. I just want to say, Youngstown people, please put down the drugs, put down the alcohol, and get a job at the fire station. Do something constructive. Stop selling drugs. Stop looking at your neighbor like they owe you money. Folks, we have to come together in this city of you. Story number 8. How prepared was the local area for a natural disaster? Speaking of fire departments and safety crews, the tornado sirens worked. They did. That's one check off of the list. The alert sirens worked. That's another check off of the list. And even in an already hectic safety environment, EMT workers were made on alert after a tree fell on a car and trapped people inside in Youngstown. Wires and everything. It was bad. 10,000 people went without power in Mahoning County due to the storm damage, and it appears that the flooding issues in Boardman have been solved with only minor incidents making headlines. I didn't really hear too much about Boardman, so I'm assuming the flooding issue is solved. If you do have some reports, please report them to the news so I can read the story and then report it on top 8. How about that? Now, what got the story in is the fact that EMT workers seem to be working with what they have. So do they deserve a yes on the next tax levies proposed to on the next election ticket to pay more to their emergency calls? Folks, this story is still developing because the EMT workers need money just like everybody else. And as a good reverend would say, is if the good Lord can't provide it, then the taxpayer. Hallelujah. Well, folks, those are our top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made this week. I'll be back to the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories. So don't you go anywhere. You're the Mediator, me, Brad West. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that I made this week. Folks, this week we're talking about, bill collectors and debt. When you're in debt or when you have a debt or when you pay your debt. And I was wondering, bill collectors, even if they think you got a little bit of money, they gonna call you. It's no different from having a friend down the street or relatives. If they think you got a little bit of money, they gonna call you. I got a letter from a bill collector. Never heard of. Never knew they was around. So I say, when you're having a good day and you're feeling good, you just got some stuff done, you may have just caught up on something, and you get a letter from a bill collector you don't even know, you start to get concerned. When people start filing credit cards with your name and you start wondering, who are these people? You know, my daddy told me, the man who raised me, Big Daddy Nathaniel, he told me, he said, Brian, when you do that TV, they gonna be in your business. And, you know, I didn't want to believe it. So I went over to my mom's house, got my mail, and I said, oh, Lord, who do I owe money to? I don't even know I owe people money. So I called him. Yeah, I owe you money? I don't even know who this is. She say, oh, Brian, I'm sorry, but this was a collector, but they're no longer in our office. But what you sending me the bill for? You know? Shoot. Call Edith. Good Lord. And that's what it does. You know, when you start feeling good about yourself, your confidence is up. You're taking your prescribed medication, you're working out, you're feeling good. People try to destroy it, you know? People don't want to see you feel good inside. They don't want to see you searching for your blessing. The world is so filled with hate. But when you feel good, it's okay. And that's what I learned this week, talking to the bill collectors, is that nobody is gonna stop my joy. Joy. Whew. Joy. Whew. Down in my soul, sweet, whew, beautiful. So say enjoy. Oh, joy. Listen to the music. The sounds of the angel. Let's waste no time, folks. The point is when you feel blessed, don't let nobody take away your blessing. Let's waste no time, folks. Let's get to story number 1. What we can learn from the 10 Commandments story. Film about joy. Joy. When it comes to academics, and especially law, the 10 Commandments is a great learning example that is worth a place in the educational arena. So why is it controversial? The Hill has an article explaining how Oklahoma schools are in revolt over a Bible mandate refusing a state order to incorporate the Bible into their lesson plans. This entire debate has everything to do with religion and the separation between church and state, but fails at understanding that the Bible, the biblical role plays a big part when it comes to academics. And at the end of the day, the Bible is a best-selling book that academically, just like any book, is well worth a read. You know, if you want to check it out and find out the miracles, Lord, and the prophets, and where we all came from. The book is so popular that people have traveled the world just to learn more about its thought-provoking stories. Folks, this story is still developing, because when you talk about the 10 Commandments, you talk about loving thy Lord, loving thyself, and thou shalt not kill, steal, or destroy. Story number 1, Big Man. Story number 2, the earth is changing. Do we have enough data to prove it? Big question. Experts say that if you want to know if the earth is changing, or if something big in nature is about to happen, watch the animals. An article in USA Today talks about how 2 shark species have appeared in inland USA waters more than 180 miles from their usual coastal hunting grounds, which has surprised fishermen and shocked scientists. Now, the report is long and could spark a lot of research when it comes to what is going on in the world's oceans. Folks, the report goes on to explain how in over 200 years of commercial fishing in the region, no one has ever seen a 7-gill shark in the waters. They just seen. Now, the fishermen found other interesting things as well, according to the report. Folks, this story is still developing, because the earth could be changing and shifting. That could be why people could be acting so strange, or we always strange. Story number 2, Big Man. Story number 3, self-made entrepreneurs see a problem with Harris's policies. This Harrison policy. That's Kamala. The policies. Fox Business has a headline explaining how a Kamala Harris presidency would hurt lower to middle class Americans the most. The report is centered around governing styles and compares the policies when it comes to Harris and Trump. Now, the report goes on to explain how entrepreneurs view the current state of the economy and what they feel can or should be done when it comes to the political and policy decisions being made under each administration. Folks, this story seems to be gaining steam, seeing that America has been a catalyst country when it comes to free thinkers looking to innovate, create, and dominate the business market and take over the world in their own little way. Folks, political talk on policy is what got the story in. That's why story number 3 made it this week. Story number 4. Will there ever be peace in the Middle East? That's a big question. The Washington Post has a headline explaining how Washington and Arab states are scrambling to avert an all-out war in the Middle East. Now, in what appears to be a forever war, diplomats have never been busier. That means they're working hard, overtime. This is a long-awaited ceasefire plea at the Gaza Strip. That's what they want. Now, this story shows a difficult situation with a lot of countries tied up in the middle. The story is still developing with many people upset and exhausted when it comes to the Middle East. I mean, a lot of people lost their life over there. Now, after so much blood has been shed in the Middle East over a long span of years, it's a long time. The question remains: is peace even possible? A lot of people are giving up hope due to the fact that it almost seems impossible to get people who hold dear to their religious beliefs to find a middle ground, especially when mixed with policy and culture. Now, here's a scary fact out of Brown University. 4.5 to 4.7 million people have died in the Middle East since 2001 due to the post 9/11 wars in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Syria, and Yemen. Folks, the number includes professionals from all races, creeds, and colors. So it's number 4 made in this week. Well, folks, those are our top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that I made this week. I'll be right back with the top 4. So don't you go anywhere. You're the Mediator with me, Brian West. I'll be right back. Tune in to Method A's YouTube channel to check out the top interviews that made it throughout the years and months. Visit method8.com. Check out all the community interviews if you want to check it out. Method8.com. Buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Oh, yeah. Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 4 international headlines and developing news stories that made this week. You know, in these tough economic times with all this inflation, you'll see people doing things that they normally would not do to try to make ends meet. And if you want to see people get innovative and creative, take away their money. Make them live struggle, and you'll see poor people doing extraordinary things. I had a guy that I used to go to YMCA, and some of these guys I still go to every once in a while, but there's, you'll see guys wanting to be in the Olympics, and you'll see people wanting to be professional football players and doctors, and they're all striving for that big paycheck. Ooh. And they'll do anything. They'll jump on the pool and backstroke, and they'll train, and they want that money. I've seen it. I used to be in the military. That's probably why most people join the military, because they need money to survive. And I didn't know how poor you could get when I got married. I ran into some financial problems, and when you're poor, oh man, I mean, you start getting bills from places you didn't even know existed. This is what the topic is this weekend, and I'm just glad I never had any bad habits. But could you imagine being married and you got to live with somebody with a bad habit? A lot of people don't understand what it means to be in debt, or when you got to file for bankruptcy. You got all these stores like Rite Aid who had to deal with the opioid crisis, and they had to file for bankruptcy. And when you got to go to that bankruptcy line, you got hospitals like Stewart Health, and when you got to go to the bankruptcy line, it's terrible. And you sitting there and you defeated inside. You're watching people go on with their life, and you're sitting in the bankruptcy line, and you feel like you've done nothing wrong. And you gotta talk to a lawyer. I mean, who wants to sit in front of a judge because of financial difficulties? And you're watching people who literally break the laws every day get away with murder. And you are defeated when you're there. You gotta pay the attorney fees, and the judge you gotta go through counseling, debt counseling. A lot of people don't know what that feels like. That's why a lot of problems happen in America, because they say when you're poor, you get poorer, and when you're rich, you get richer. And it creates a divide. And that's what we see right now. I even made a song about it. It's called "You Could Be Broke and Blessed." Here we go. When you're down and out in the rain, you can be broke and blessed, yeah. Stay away from drugs when you're broke and blessed. Stay away from alcohol and cigarettes and weed. Try to be blessed, ooh, yeah. Try to be blessed. When you're broke and blessed, you find a friend in the Lord. Woo! Broken blessed, baby. Let's waste no time. Let's get to it. Story number 5. Speaking of broken blessed, the stock market is in the headlines. You ever notice how when a lot of people who have a lot of money, when they start losing money, they seem to be a little bit more panicky than the people who ain't never had no money? That's what this story is about. Story number 5. Investors took a hold of their phones after Bloomberg reported that a $6.4 trillion stock wipeout has caught the attention of traders. That's what's happened over the last weekend. If you watch the story today, last weekend. Now, the report rippled throughout headlines, but Forbes reports that analysts remain optimistic about the outlook of stock prices in 2024. So there's a little bit of confusion here, but something happened in the stock market. Now, so far, it appears that a massive pushback when it comes to AI caused the hiccup that we just happened. Now, in the markets, according to nymag.com. Now, compared to the rest of the world, economic uncertainty could be a game changer and a main reason why wars may end in a truce. That means that people, when you start talking money, people may start putting down their weapons. Now, the unemployment uptick has also played a part in this report. That's making this a top story, folks. The story is still staying alive. That's why story number 5 made it this week, baby. Story number 6. Even little kids are talking about Project 2025. Project 2025 is not out of the discussion yet, folks. The topic is so right-wing that there's a book about it sparking conversations even among teenagers that can't even vote yet. That's true. Yes, true. Now, the vision is what got the story. The vision is what even people on the right are calling un-American. The vision of that they have in this whole thing, and it has and it has and it continues to spark movements online to get people to be more aware of what is taking place. The piece of conservative vision is what it is. Project 2025. It has women on edge. It has kids on edge, and especially people who want to control and want to be free. Folks, this story is still developing. So story number 6 almost made it to the top 2 this week. Big deal. Story number 7 and the top 2 international headline and developing news stories that made it this week. Just to keep you informed. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't go through walls. I haven't been crucified. I haven't risen from the dead. I'm alive. Celebrate me through watching and being informed. Story number 7. What does the taxpayer say about foreign affairs? Folks, the data shows that the American taxpayer has been used and abused, and the headlines show that recent developments are catching the attention of these taxpayers because most Americans oppose sending U.S. troops to defend Israel. That's according to a poll. Now, that's according to a poll that This is, I guess it was posted in the Washington Post, in a Washington Post article. It says that the poll says that I think about 55% of Americans disapprove of sending troops to Israel to defend it. That's what number 7 also made to the top this week, because we're talking taxpayer money. Big me. Story number 8 in the top international headline and developing news story that I made this week. What you mean that baby can't get informed? You better let that baby watch the news so he can know what's going on. If the baby want to vote, let him vote. If he's old enough, let him vote early. Good Lord. If they want to be citizens and great citizens, let them read. If you want to be dumb, broke, and out on the street, then don't do drugs. Get your life together. Find a book. Go to college. Be productive. They are giving you money to go to school now. Don't you get the point? These people want greatness. Story number 8. The cost of living is a problem. They want greatness and inflation. You got to find a solution. Come together. Join hands. Find a way. Get a job. We got to find a job. If you can't without a job, create a job. That's what's happening in this world right now. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of arguing, people kicking people out. People want the money. Folks, MoneyWise says that Grant Cardone has predicted that the average U.S. rent price will almost double over the next decade. The article goes on to explain why he feels this is a golden opportunity, and he's betting $1 billion that he's right. The article succeeds at what many already figured, and that is the assumption that the real estate market is a rich person's game and a poor person's nightmare or dream. These are just speculations. This can't be true. Now, the article is filled with factual data, with one man betting that poor people will be left out because prices will skyrocket. This is his bet. Now, this story will definitely spark conversations and create a lot of debatable talking points when it comes to policy and affordable housing. Folks, this story is still developing. That's why Story number 8 made to the top this week. Well, folks, there are top 8 local and international headlines and developing news stories that I made this week. I hope you got something out of today's program. I always get something out of the research. As usual, I'd like to thank all the news outlets, the journalists, the people on the front lines. You deserve all the credit. I'm just a mediator, the man in the middle, navigating your stories and news stories just to keep people informed and happy, staying happy and motivated to do so. If you want to show some support here at Method, it does not take much. All you do is visit the website on the screen, buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program. Or you can stop at the store at 5648 Market Street, see my smiling face in the store, do what you have to do. Well, folks, I am out here. I'll be back next week looking through over 200 or more stories just to keep you informed, Lord willing. Thank you for tuning to the Mediator this week with me, Brian West. Have a good week, everybody. Peace.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.